Bonjour. Now we're going to learn ER verbs. ER verbs are regular verbs. If you recall the last few verbs that I introduced, I said they were irregular or not regular, which means they didn't really follow the rules. Well, what are the rules? These are the rules. These ones that I'm going to introduce now follow a regular pattern. They all follow it. So there's hundreds of verbs that belong in this group that follow these rules. So I could give you any verb that is an ER verb and you would be able to conjugate it even if you didn't know what it means. There are three major types of verbs. We're going to start with the ER. There's also IR and RE. Again, if you've taken Spanish, this sounds familiar. These are called our first group of verbs or first conjugation because there's so many of them. That's why we start with the ER. And you're going to need to memorize these endings. E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. Notice how I put it in this chart here because this chart is helping you organize all of this information. And if you remember this, then you will know what ending to pick. So, different than être, different than avoir, you don't need to memorize one table per verb. You need one table for hundreds of verbs now, which is good news. So if I wanted to say, I speak. I have my verb here, and I have my subject. You cannot pick which one to do if you do not know what your subject is. So you need to get clear on that. Is it first person, second person, third person? Is it singular or plural? Who is performing the action? Once you know that, and I've picked mine, je, now we can get started. The first thing you do to this ER verb is you're going to take off the ER. Take it off. Don't argue, don't overthink it, don't say like, oh, I'm only going to take off the R because I'm only going to put the E back on. No, don't do it because I am teaching you something that's going to be used later on. So take off the ER. Then you're going to put on your ending. Put on the ending that goes. So for this case, the ending matches the subject, just like it has before in être, just like it has before in avoir. What section goes with je? Well, this top left section goes with je. So it's je pars. And that's it. You've correctly conjugated this verb. I could put any ER verb here. And as long as you know what section of the table to grab, you would still do the same thing. You would take off the ER and you would put the ending on. Now, back to the three possible translations. This could mean I speak, I do speak, or I am speaking. Please, please, please do not start trying to say je suis like I am parle. I am speaking. Don't do it. Remember that French is simpler. You only have one way to say I speak, I do speak, I am speaking. Je parle. That's it. Okay? And lastly is commands. So commands, or the impératif, we'll talk about a little bit more later on, but for now it's really pretty simple. If you were going to tell someone speak, like speak in French. Okay? Let's see. Who am I talking to? I'm saying you, right? I just don't say you. I'm going to say parle. Speak. And the only thing that I have to do different, besides not including the tu, is to take off the S. Now I've just told you speak. And if I was speaking to, for instance, a whole class, I would say parler. I don't have to worry about taking off the Z. So you've learned a whole other tense. Actually, it's called a mood. It's the imperative, my command. And you didn't even have to learn anything really new. Again, I'll back up again. If I was going to say, you are speaking, again, it would be tu parles. You are speaking, you do speak, you speak. But if I wanted to change it to a command saying speak, I don't need that anymore, and I don't need the S. Okay? Where did I get that ES to begin with? Remember from here, because my subject was tu.